Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is True Hill Heat, and I said it right, you motherfuckers.
All right, ready when you are.
Hey guys, I may have go away heat, but these guys have true heel heat. So you better listen to the podcast or else I'm gonna kick you in your fucking cock and balls.
I'll get it.
Check the sound skin. New York, we know where we at. We on the East Coast, but we from the West Coast. But it's all love, dog. Trill, Hill, Heat. Yee.
Hey, you fucked it all up.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3, and we are back once again. It's been a long hiatus. I know. It's been 2 weeks, but we had to hit you with some BMF goodness. And yes, we are back with BMF Season 4, Episodes 5 and 6 review. This is a solo, pre-taped edition of our review. We'll be back. Don't worry. I promise y'all. We'll be back doing live streams this coming week. Chrissy Love's been on vacation. I've been busy over on the wrestling YouTube channel with a very, 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 very long All In Texas week where we did a week long of content. I'm going on, I think it's like 16 days straight of doing live streams over on the channel that will finally end on Sunday. So maybe next week we can get back on schedule with BMF, but I'm here to discuss BMF Season 4 Episodes 5 and 6. Without further ado, y'all know the deal. We appreciate y'all. If you're watching us on the premiere, appreciate y'all. If you're watching us on demand, either way, show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. And if you're new to the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the live chat if you're watching the premiere. But most importantly, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the last 2 episodes of BMF. And it's getting interesting. It's getting good, especially episode 6. But before we get into episode 6, let's talk about episode 5 for this season. Now, this episode starts off with a flashback to their time in Mexico. Meech and Terry, they see a kid is hiding out next to Loco's crib, and Loco freaks out because he believes the kid is a spy, a federale, and because his friend was once killed by a kid just like him. Then Terry realizes that he thinks that they're losing their faith, they're losing their kind of connection to who they really are because of things like this, because they never touch kids like how Loco pulls the kid away like that. So Terry, you could tell, is going to do something that he shouldn't do when it comes to Loco holding on to this kid. Then we go to present day where Meech is giving his orders to the crew in Atlanta, and they are ready to not just push some drugs out there, they're ready to push some music. They're preparing for Purdy's release, a launch party under their new label, Stomping Ground Records. Back in Detroit, you got Terry. He is dealing with Markeisha. He's telling her about herself, basically, because he had Hoop and B-Mickie looking after her, watching her every move when she went to see Boom and everything. And it seems that they are getting back into a little connection as they were getting close with one another in this meeting at Terry's crib. They wind up kissing one another, so you could tell Terry has found himself right back into the vice grip of this woman. And then she goes back to her crib, Markeisha, and she sees Boom is there. Boom is out of jail. He's been released. That is her husband, so he's gonna stay with her. And Boom, right off the bat, after coming out of jail, he bends her over a couch and he claps them cheeks. He was clapping them cheeks very early on. I was like, God damn, you ain't even get her warmed up, brother. Damn. Charles, though, was the biggest kind of spoiler alert, biggest loser in this episode. Charles, though, he starts off the episode and he's very happy after the news from episode 4, how he told Lucille that they're ready to get back on tour soon, and he goes and tells his boss at the plant that he's gonna be getting ready to leave. His boss is a little bit upset because he had to kind of move people around to get Charles back into the job, and he's leaving him high and dry once again. He says that he's willing to train his replacement, so he tells him he'll help him out with that, and that he'll have to be out because he's going on tour. Charles then goes to Terry's restaurant and he's telling Cece he's very excited about the tour, and he even wants to take her with him. But Cece's not too sure about this because of how Charles reacted to her ex-boyfriend stalking her and how he beat her up. So she kind of wants to cut loose. She wants to cut him loose and doesn't want to go on tour with him and doesn't want to date him anymore. So that's the first L for our good brother Raw Dog Charles in this episode. Then we got meanwhile you got B-Mickie. He gets the money for the surgery from Terry as well as Lucille, so his kid is going to be getting the surgery pretty soon. Then you go back to Charles. He's going to get his guitar from the pawn shop, and he realizes he sees Lucille has sold the ring to the pawn shop, and he is none too pleased. The pawn shop owner kind of like makes a joke about, oh, the brother who let go of that red bone, he gonna be disappointed. And then he realized that that's Charles. Yeesh. Charles confronts Lucille about it when they go with B-Mickie and his wife to take V to the hospital for her surgery. B-Mickie's very worried. He confronts her about it, and Lucille is basically saying that they needed money, but he's like saying why you couldn't just be honest about it and couldn't just tell him about it. It's Lucille, being dirty, being rotten, being evil and selfish. It is what she is at this point. Lucille prays with B-Mickie and his wife, and that everything's going to be okay. And the doctor comes out and tells them that the surgery went well and that his daughter's going to be all right. When they go inside and see her, and they're very happy and excited, B-Mickie wants this moment to be as exciting as possible. So he gets down on one knee and asks his missus to get married officially. She says yes. He asks Charles to be his best man, and he asks Lucille to officiate the wedding. But it's not a happy ending for everybody. Charles goes up and leaves. He goes back to the GM plant and he's training his new replacement. And unfortunately, his new replacement is not paying attention too well. The boss comes and says, "Oh, you better be careful. You need your hands for the guitar," and lands a heavy fucking equipment right on his fucking hand, and his fucking hand is broken. Charles, he can't work at the plant. He can't play guitar. This dumb. I don't know if I should give Charles the LVP or the replacement who freaking let the thing fall on his hand the LVP, but one of y'all deserve the LVP. Then we go to Nicole, who's doing rotten shit herself. She's a Flannery, so she's gonna do rotten shit. She's up here in her room and she's sleeping with Werm as she's having a party at the crib. Terry comes in and he realizes that the party's going on and he's about to shut this shit down. He goes to Nicole's room and he peeps that she got some sneakers in the room and realizes that there's guys' clothes in the room. He goes into the closet and he sees that is one of his workers, Werm. He presses him against the wall. He then even fucking throws him down the stairs. That shit was hilarious. Can we talk about that? That shit was hilarious. He threw poor Werm down the stairs. Werm ain't doing nothing. He just trying to get his jollies off. Goddamn Werm got thrown down the goddamn stairs. That was hilarious. Nicole's not too happy about this. She slaps Terry across the face, yells at him, and Terry's like, well, if I see him again, I'm gonna fucking kill him. And Nicole is none too pleased about all of this. But she's not going to be none too pleased going further, as she's very sick the next day, throwing up. She thinks it's because she has a hangover, but LaWanda basically questions her about it and says, when was the last time that she had a period? She realizes that, yeah, she might be pregnant, tells her to take a pregnancy test, and she's there when Nicole is revealed that she is, in fact, pregnant. Nicole believes that the child is actually Breeze and not Worms, but LaWanda questions her on it, like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I slept with him before he left a couple of months ago, and I've been late for the last couple of months. So she believes it's Breeze. I have a feeling it's Worm. And that's just going to make things even more muddy. Earlier in the episode, we see Lamar is alive and well. He's working out. He's got his wounds are fucking infected and they're bleeding through his shirt. So he goes and see his good old cousin Asha Larry at the embalmery. He's taking care of a dead woman and checking out her titties when he gets there, and he wants him to clean up his cuts and everything. At first, he tells him that, no hard feelings for everything that went down when he got addicted to drugs and everything that happened between them, and that he took care of his dog when he died. And he tells him, he was like, I'm not going to do anything to you. Your family. So after his cousin wipes his wounds and cleans it up for him, he knocks him out, and then he drags him over to the embalmery, to the fire. He throws him into the fucking shit. He locks it, and he burns that motherfucker alive. Lamar, still to go. This man's a murderer like no one else. No one murders somebody like Lamar does. Then we go back to Atlanta, where Meech is meeting with Loco, and Loco is a real one. He lets him know that you can't trust homie, you can't trust Jay Pusher. And it took Loco to say it because he wasn't listening to Terry, who kept saying that to him. He listens to Loco. He calls up Sterling Black, and he lets him know that he needs him to do some reconnaissance back in St. Louis to find out what's going on with Jay Pusher. We see Bryant. He's found one of the stripper that was dancing with Duffy in the strip club, and he's questioning her about her. He basically says that he's gonna take her child away from her. She cooperates and gives him the real name of Duffy so Bryant can find out about him. He takes the homie from the Red that used to be with the Red Dogs, and he takes him to go after Duffy. Duffy has already found a peep game. He saw Bryant in the strip club, so he knows he has to leave town. He gives Meech money to give to his pops to put on his books, and he's basically about to leave town when they catch up to him. Brian and the homie from the Red Dogs, they cut him off. It's a big chase. They got more police cars that come after him. Meech is able to get away, but Duffy isn't. They go and press him against the car. They arrest him, and Meech has to watch this all go down. Duffy's looking at him like he's a little bit upset, but we'll see if he stays true to Meech, but did not look good. Did not look good for Duffy. Then we go back to Meech's crib. He had a date earlier in the episode with Maria that got cut short by Terry, who came in and was like, shit's gone left, because they had met with Trell earlier in the show, because they had all prepared. They were all at Meech's crib for Purdy's song to play on the radio. They had paid the radio host to play her song, but apparently they got like a release statement from Trell, who stopped that from happening and got his artist played instead. So they go and see Trell, and he basically makes them pay even more money for the release papers to allow them to kind of get Purdy's music played on the radio. So Terry goes to the casino and tries to bet money and make some more money, make some clean money for them to pay it off, but he's unable to do so. So he breaks up their first date. But then later on, Maria comes to him after Duffy got arrested, and she consoles him, and they wound up clapping them cheeks. My man Meech was all up in them Maria cheeks. But back to the whole situation with Trell. This one is one of the main plots of this episode here. Trell is basically extorting them for more money. So they extort Trell. They basically show up at his crib. They are backed up by the rest of BMF. They pull guns on his bodyguard and Trell, and basically make Trell sign the release papers, so they're able to get Purdy's music played. Purdy has a nice moment with Maria and Tina back at Meech's crib, where she talks about how she was singing on the street because her foster parents were basically using her for her voice, and Trell basically discovered her and wanted to use her voice to make good music. So she thought that Trell was like an angel, but but then she realized that the devil was an angel before he became the devil, and that was Trell, because he basically would yell at her and abuse her if she got anything wrong in the studio. And basically Meech and Terry let her know that you won't have to worry about that anymore. They got the release papers. She could be on her own now. We go to the launch party. That's how we end this episode. We see Purdy taking some drugs before she goes on stage and performs her new song. She invites the rest of BMF on stage, and as she's performing, we see that Trell's bodyguard is in the strip club, and eventually he looks like he's going to leave, but instead he shoots at the stage. Terry brings Purdy down, but unfortunately he did not let Purdy avoid those bullets, and Birdie is shot down, and we don't know what's going to happen to her by the end of the episode. She's shot in the side. Will she live? Will she not? We got to find out in episode 6. But that was episode 5 of BMF season 4. I would give this one a solid, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. Out of 10. I'm going to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. The best scene is when they basically get the better of Trell. I like that scene a lot. That was really good right there. And as far as MVP for this episode, I'm gonna have to give it to Lamar. Lamar is the only one that didn't take too many L's in this episode, whether it's someone they are, someone they're backing, like singer, like Terry and Meech, basically getting basically the one up and getting the better of Trell at first, but then they have to switch things up, and so they had their issues in this episode. Lamar, he got his W because he killed his cousin for basically getting him hooked on drugs. And then I will give LVP definitely to Raw Dog Charles. Raw Dog Charles take too many L's in this episode. I feel bad for the brother. So that was BMF season 4, episode 5. Let's get into BMF season 4, episode 6.
So episode 6 was entitled Bad Religion. This episode starts off with Terry. He basically has he has a heart. Can't have a heart in the drug business, but he has one, and he talks to the kid, and he realizes that the kid is just scared, so he lets the kid go. This leads to a huge fight between him and Loco. They get into it. They start punching each other. Meech has to settle things down and get in between them. But Meech is starting to realize that Terry's heart and his compassion is a weakness that might not work out for them. Then you get Lucille. Lucille's part of this story. The impact of Charles' terrible workplace accident begins to show soon after the incident. Not only does it ruin his chances of continuing his work at the factory, but it also robs him of the opportunity to go on a second tour with his band, and he's very depressed about it. We start off the episode with him in the room. He's trying to put bandages on his hand, and he's unable to. He's very depressed. He's sleeping in the room a lot, doesn't want to eat. Naturally, this has a severe impact on him, leaving him to feel artistically unfulfilled and financially bound. Eventually, inevitably, this goes on to have a negative effect on the family's finances as well. The burden of the mounting bills and debt falls squarely on Lucille's shoulders, who struggles with making ends meet. Normally, her financially unstable situation could have been alleviated with government welfare. Nonetheless, with Charles still living under her roof, there's little hope for her application to be approved. She's even told by her cousin that she needs to lie, but she decides to tell the truth. Lucille decides to try her luck and marches down to the welfare office. Furthermore, despite her friend's advice, she remains honest in her application regarding her continued living situation with her ex-husband. I don't know why. That was dumb as hell. Inevitably, this proves to be a burden and a blunder in her situation, as the welfare worker has no choice but to turn her down. The rejection hits hard for Lucille, and instead of taking it upon herself and taking her in as more of a mistake that she made, she puts it out on Charles, which is like very bad. Consequently, one unfortunate night, she lets her frustrations get the better of her, and she blows up at Charles, basically talking down to him, treating him like he's nothing more than a burden and a nuisance in her house. With the numerous unkind insults she throws at her ex, she also tells them that the family would be better off without him. Horrible to say, with someone who's mentally not right after that workplace accident. This is why Lucille is fucking trash. Ultimately, this has a severe impact on Charles, whose depression drives him towards suicidal ideation, and he has suicidal thoughts. He's in the house and he's thinking about like maybe the whole family would be better off without him. Was his whole marriage just a freaking lie? So after basically expressing these thoughts to Lucille, we get Nicole and Terry. They show up at the crib as well, and Terry basically asks his dad, does he still have the gun that he took from Meech and him that he found in his room? Basically scared that his dad is going to actually go through with the thoughts that's in his head. So he has to basically stay the night, stays in the room that his dad is sleeping in to make sure nothing happens. It's very sad, and we talked about the first episode that we're talking about on this review with episode 5, the amount of L's that he had in a row, the relationship ending, everything going on with Lucille and him, with Lucille selling the ring and then having to live in the same house as Lucille. Then he had a light at the end of the tunnel with the band going on his second tour, and then that's taken away from him, as well as his job at the plant. He can't provide for his family. It's just L after L after L, and it would just be getting worse as things go on. And we would find out something else in this episode here that would further compound all the stress and all the feelings of failure that he has in his head. Brian tries to break Duffy. Duff's previous arrest at the hands of Detective Brian remains a sore spot for Meech. While the crime boss has no doubts about his friend's loyalty, he even tells Terry that he can't help but be concerned about his well-being behind bars. However, when the time comes, the detective decides to play dirty, but only in terms of sentimental peep. During interrogation, he puts Meech's right-hand man in a room with his father, who is also locked up and has long been locked up and is also kind of fighting for his life, and he's not in good health. His health has taken an unfortunate turn, leaving him with only a handful of months to survive. Initially, Duff is only indigent on his father's behalf, insisting that the corrupt system forces such cruel fates upon them. Therefore, the son is taken aback when the older man advises him to play ball with the cops. The father has firsthand experience of what it feels like to waste one's life away under imprisonment. For the same reason, he doesn't want a similar future for his son. He wants Duffy to look out for himself by cutting a deal with Brian and earning his freedom. He insists that Meech would have never traded away his life for his friend's benefit. The emotional interaction entails hope in Brian's mind, and he entertains the idea that his plan may have just worked. Nevertheless, on their second meeting, Duffy stays firm in his decision. After his father's incarceration ruined his family, he found a new place and a new family to belong, and a new family with Meech. Thus, he would never do anything to condemn his new family, even if he had to sacrifice his own life in the process. So, there you have it. This episode starts off with Terry basically sending B-Mickie on a mission. After Terry meets with Jay Pusher's right-hand man from St. Louis and cuts a deal with him for him to take over the St. Louis operation when they move Jay Pusher out the way, he sends B-Mickie, who's always been the shooter for the BMF crew, on a mission to basically take out Jay Pusher. We see him on top of like a building, like an apartment terrace, and he's aiming at Jay Pusher. But then the camera goes black and it cuts from that scene. Later, we see Meech, we see Terry meeting up with B-Mickie and Hoop in the car, and B-Mickie says that he missed Jay Pusher because a siren went off and he missed his target. He says, but Jay Pusher believes that basically this person that's from another gang, they think that they're behind this. So he says they can use this to their favor, basically. So we shall see. We shall see. More on that in a bit. Then you got the family learning about Nicole's pregnancy. Growing up in Meech and Terry's shadow, their younger sister, Nikki, had proven to be something of a golden child. She was the first child to graduate from high school out of the kids, and the first child that was going to go to college out of the kids. She plays by the rules, does well in school, and even scores a full ride scholarship to college. Nonetheless, her faithful night in lockup leaves an indelible mark on her. From then on, she has been indulging more and more in bad decisions, be it dating one of Terry's hired men or throwing parties at the home. Still, when her pregnancy test comes out positive, she's sure it's a result of the night she spent with Bree before she got incarcerated, her long-distance high school sweetheart who's now in college. As such, she invites him to B-Mickie's wedding to share the news with him. He is overjoyed. He seems happy about the decision. However, Lucille ends up catching on to the signs when she tells Breeze as they're dancing, and Breeze holds on to her stomach and is looking down in it, and they're looking happy at one another, leading Lucille to reveal her daughter's secret before she's ready to even share it with them. Nicole's family remains devastated by the news, least of all because the pregnancy had arrived outside of wedlock, which, Lucille is upset about because she's a pastor, she's a church-going woman. While Charles worries about his kid's academic future, Lucille remains concerned about the financial logistics of having another mouth to feed. She's even more stressed, which leads to the fateful night where she basically throws Charles onto the fire. Inversely, Terry, who was also in attendance, can't help but wonder if his henchman, Werm, is the actual father of the child. Thus, in the aftermath, he threatens the other man to agree to marry his sister if the baby does end up being his. He basically tries to burn his face on a stove at the restaurant and basically warns him that if that baby is his, he better make his sister an honest woman. Meanwhile, Nikki's parents make their displeasure known, which compels her to insist she won't need their help. Instead, she's determined to keep her and Breeze's futures on track, believing they can juggle college with parenthood. Spoiler alert, I don't think this is going to work out too well. And I don't think it's Breeze's. I think it's Werm's. And when is Breeze going to find out? We shall see. Maybe it's episode 7. I don't know. B-Mickie's play on Jay Pusher's life backfires. After spying on Markeisha and bringing vital intel to Terry, B-Mickie manages to earn the younger Flannery's brother's trust. But like we said, he was hired he was the newest hire with the job, and he basically was supposed to kill Jay Pusher. Nonetheless, when the time comes, he ends up missing the shot. In the aftermath, the latter blames a rival, the Seal Moore people, for the failed assassination attempt, compiling him to incite a turf war. We see him show up at their new home location, and he starts shooting up the place. They had taken over somebody else's house because it was on their hollow ground, and they shot him. They shot a bunch of people from the crew, and then they get up out of there when the shootout becomes too much. Even though B-Mickie's misstep doesn't blow up in BMF's lap, Terry decides to fire him from the covert position he has held in the ranks, basically trying to wipe his hands of B-Mickie just in case Meech would find out. Meech also learns about his partner's betrayal around the same time. Therefore, he decides to cut ties with him and try out different avenues of St. Louis distribution. He goes to St. Louis behind Terry's back and basically does his own reconnaissance. This is where he finds out from Jay Push's number 2 about the deal that he made with Terry, and that Terry basically sent somebody to kill Jay Pusher. So he's finding more and more out about Terry's backroom dealings, but he doesn't know about the B-Mickie side of this. Eventually, this brings Meech to consider a deal with the Sealmores. Nonetheless, when Pusher catches wind of the same, he attacks his rival lair, leading to an incredible bloodshed. Ultimately, the entire debacle results in an explosive fight between the Flannery brothers, perhaps diverging their paths for the future to come. It's Meech, after he gets into a whole shootout, he's basically sealing the deal with the Seymours, and he's delivering the coke to them after a couple of different meetings, thanks to homegirl that was with Jay Pusher, who's now her own lead of her own gang, who Meech clapped them cheeks last season. She basically makes the connect with the Sealmores for him, and he's able to cut a deal with them. He goes to Jay Pusher, and he basically cuts him out of the operation because he knows that he's a snake now, and basically goes to the Sealmores instead. But Jay Pusher and his number 2, they basically bombard them. They shoot everybody from the Sealmore crew. Meech is able to get out of there, and then when Meech returns to Detroit, he has an explosive fight with Terry in the kitchen, where Terry's basically like, this family never needed you. You brought this family into the drug game. And Meech's like, you would never be in the spot that you were in if you didn't get in that car, in Pat's car with me. But he basically tells, Terry tells Meech, the family don't need you. You're never here for the family. You don't even know that Dad is contemplating killing himself and that he said that to us. You don't know that Nicole's pregnant. You don't know any of this. You're not part of this family. However, little do they know that part of this tensious whole situation is by design. We end this episode with B-Mickie back home with his wife and his child. They're looking after his child, and his wife tells him, we got what we wanted. She's gonna be okay. You did all of this, and she was like, do you think they'll ever find out what you did? And we come to find out that B-Mickie never forgave the BMF for cutting ties with him all those years ago. For the same reason, when the time came, he decided to trap the brothers in a game of his own. As it turns out, B-Mickie had been the one to visit Lamar at the rehab center at the beginning of the season. We've been wondering that for the last couple of episodes. Who was it that went to see Lamar when he got his chip and basically was able to get out of rehab? And apparently it was B-Mickie, encouraging him to exact revenge on Terry and Meech. This gave him the opportunity to basically sweep in and play the knight in shining armor and manipulate the brothers into taking note of him and basically putting him back into their trusts. In fact, his missed attack on Pusha was also an intentional choice. We go back to the beginning of the episode when he takes aim at Pusha, and then he goes to the side and he just shoots a whole bunch of bullets, knowing that this will ignite a war and it will work in his favor. To ensure he would get fired and ruin the BMS business in the process. B-Mickie is intent on taking the Flannery brothers down at all costs. However, his plan promises negative reactions because he's like, everything's working out for him. He was like, the BMS business is in array. Terry and Meech are on different sides. Lamar is gone. His daughter V, she's healthy. They're married. Everything is working out in his favor. But he, even though his wife kind of feels that he's already accomplished what he needed to accomplish, he wants to make sure that Terry and Meech never fuck over anyone like they did to him. So it sounds like he wants to kill the Flannery brothers. I gotta give it to him. This was a great twist. To find out, we're past the halfway point of this season. To find out past the halfway point that the real villain, it's not Lamar. It's not even Jay Pusher. It's not Trell. All these people that they've been setting up as obstacles for BMF, whether it be in the music business, whether it be in the drug business, whether it be their past, all of them have been basically ploys outside of Trell, all of them have kind of been put as opposition, basically through the domino effect that was created by B-Mickie. B-Mickie is the real villain of this season. This was a masterful twist, and honestly, this made for the best episode of this season so far. So as far as thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, this gets a big thumbs up. It gets 2 thumbs up for me. I give this episode a 9 out of 10. I thought episode 6, best episode of the season so far. That twist to find out that B-Mickie has been dropping the dominoes and been all about this ploy to take down BMF and take down the Flannery brothers. It's a masterful stroke of genius and really made for everything that's happened this season to make a whole lot more sense. MVP for this episode is obviously B-Mickie. B-Mickie is a mastermind here. And we never kind of viewed B-Mickie as that. He's been the shooter, he's been a loyal soldier, but we never felt like he was like this mastermind that could be an obstacle for BMF to overcome. But now we do after this episode. So genius stuff. And he got married. He's got the Flannery brothers on the back foot. They don't know that he's coming after him. He's trying to cut them down. God bless B-Mickie, man. Masterful stuff. Lamar still being alive, though, that's going to be his undoing, and that's going to come sooner rather than later. Probably before the end of the season, I think B-Mickie going to get the fuck out of here by Lamar's hand. Then as far as LVP for this episode, it's got to be Lucille. Lucille's reaction to Nikki's pregnancy, to the failure at welfare, to Charles, led Charles down a path where he's having suicidal thoughts. It's got to be Lucille. She's the worst. So that's the MVP. That's the LVP. Let me know what you thought about episode 6 of season 4 of BMF. Want to thank you guys for sticking with us through this season of BMF. We'll be back with our regular live streams starting off next week with episode 7 of season 4. We'll be back on the live stream. Me and Chrissy Love will be back with you to talk all about BMF season 4, episode 7 live with you. But I appreciate y'all for showing your support to our pre-recorded reviews and allowing me to do 2 episodes at once. Always appreciate that. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about episodes 5 and 6 of BMF season 4. Who was your MVPs? Who was your LVPs? And let me know what you've been thinking of this season so far. Like this video, share with your friends, subscribe if you are new. Follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. And like I said, we'll be back with more, and we got plenty of more content for you to enjoy. We're going to be doing reviews for The Chi season 7. We still got to do our All-American season 7 review and also a recap of All-American. We're going to be doing a character tier list for that show as well, so be on the lookout for that. And check out all the great content we got on the channel concerning BMF for season 4, episodes 1, episode 2, episode 3, and episode 4. Also, check out our Ironheart Season 1, Episodes 1 through 3 review. Later this week, we'll also have an Ironheart Season 1, Episodes 4 through 6 review as the season is over, and we'll talk all about the big-time reveal in the final episode. And check out True Heel Heat for other content when it comes to sports, true off-season, with Chase and Stat King talking all about the quarterbacks in the NFL Season 2 review. Check it all out, and I appreciate y'all for joining me here for BMF Season 4, Episodes 5 and 6 review. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, signing off until next time.